Welcome to Behind the Screens, a podcast where we talk to industry experts and the people who make Universal Screens a leader in the world of motorized retractable screens.
Welcome. You're now listening to the Behind the Screens podcast. That felt good. So we've been waiting about, 3 years.
A few years, yeah.
3 years to launch a podcast, and finally here we are. Behind the Screens podcast, brought to you by Universal Screens. And basically what we're trying to do here is give you an inside look at not only our company, but also the vendors we deal with, our customers. Just a behind the scenes look at the industry. And our industry is the retractable screening, the outdoor shading solution industry. And I am Shawn Culbertson, the CEO of Universal Screens, and I'm joined by Michael Longoria. Michael Longoria, the VP of Operations, and Joe Cerda, the VP of Sales. Both of you guys have been by my side since the get-go. But what I wanted to focus on this episode was kind of about Michael. We started this business as a distributing business in 2010, and it was Joe and I, and we had a different company name. And then in 2013, we started manufacturing, and the very first employee that we had was Michael Longoria. Actually, the funny inside joke is that Michael Longoria got paychecks way before we did.
Yeah.
We weren't getting paid from this company.
The only person.
You were the only person getting paid from Universal Screens. So as our first ever employee of Universal Screens, talk to us about your initial duties. What did we bring you on for? And your initial thoughts on where you thought this company could go.
Yeah. So I found the product and the company from a video podcast that you had done, Shawn, and seeing it at the time, I had never seen anything like it. So I was very intrigued by it. When you guys, at the time, you said, hey, we're going to create something pretty big in about a month, and I'm thinking, okay, I have no idea what it is. So you brought me in, showed me the first building. It was empty. And I'm thinking, wow, this is huge. I have no idea what's going on.
But y'all met through soccer, right?
We met through soccer.
Yeah.
So Shawn started a soccer club that I had tried out for. And so I knew of Shawn from just, seeing you on the field. I think I'd met you at that first tryout, so I knew of you. And then through Facebook, I added you as a friend on Facebook, and then that's where I found the podcast. So.
You had that soccer hair look.
Yeah,
the soccer look, the tattoos, the long hair, the beard, the earrings.
But yeah, and so I was kind of at a standstill at my job, the current job I was doing. I had just had a kid, and at that job there was really no future for it. So I thought, why not? Let's try it. So I Facebook messaged you and said, hey, the product sounds really cool. Do you have an opening? I'd love to come do whatever you're doing. And that's when you told me, well, we've got something big if you can wait. And so I came in, saw the building. It was empty.
Yeah.
And then I waited. You had brought me in. That time I met Joe, I met Shawn, I met Glenn.
You interviewed with Glenn mostly, right?
Yeah. And immediately Glenn made me feel like family, and you guys, all of y'all, made me feel like family. And so when I first got hired on, we first started, really my job duties, since there was nothing in the back, was building tables.
Yeah.
Jim would weld the tables. We'd get equipment in. I'd get trained on it. But yeah, it was getting everything set up.
It was pretty empty back there.
It was.
Yeah, I still got pictures.
It was. And even after setting everything up, it was like, okay, I'm ready to do something. And you're like, okay, it'll come. But
yeah,
we'll get a screen. We'll get a screen one day.
But at that time, we had gotten some people in to train me on the product. I believe we ordered a few just to kind of get it in and dissect it and look at it. But yeah, I was trained, from other people of this is how you build it, this is what you do, and even the screen welder, learning that from scratch.
Right.
And so really at that time, I'm sitting here thinking, well, this is great, but when's it going to take off? You know? And starting something brand new, I didn't know. And I didn't even know the industry either. So I didn't know what really was kind of going
So
on.
I dove in and I asked, we started talking about you, but we also forgot to mention, so when we do these podcasts, we're gonna have a little twist, and we're gonna go with some different beers, some out of the box beers, different flavors, some good flavors, maybe some bad flavors. And right now we've got 903 Brewers, which is in Sherman, and this is a peanut butter sandwich stout.
Sandwich, not sandwich.
Yeah, we're
sandwich.
gonna pour a little bit, and we're all gonna taste. Go ahead and one of
And
you.
Joe hates this. He's not looking for this. He's a Bud Light kind of guy.
So going back now, this is 2013, and you're the first employee of Universal Screens. You've never seen this product other than the videos, and you certainly have never seen the equipment, and you're having to learn all that. Take us back to then. We didn't have the knowledge base to teach you how to run the equipment. You were right there on the front line learning it just as we were.
Yeah, because you guys had never manufactured either, and so you were learning it, and so
yeah. I mean, our background, Joe and my background was more sales and installation, and so you were on day one. You were ahead of us, just learning anything about the equipment.
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest with you, I mean, that's kind of my thing is to be hands on and learn. Like, you can tell me all day long, but the minute I get my hands on it and you show me, and I'm kind of one of those, like, let me make a mistake and I'll figure out how to fix it, because that's how I learn. So getting to learn all this new stuff, I was digging it. I was diving into it, like, teach me more. I want to know more. So.
Yeah.
But
and as sales guys, we were selling you on the idea that this was going to be something big, but in the meantime, we were also behind closed doors questioning ourselves. Is this going to be something big?
So in the back of your head, you're thinking like, okay, we're telling him it's going to be big, but
we were not nearly as optimistic as Glenn. And Glenn, who we've mentioned a couple of times, is my father-in-law, and Glenn Messner started this business with myself, and we brought Joe on, and then of course Michael was the first hire, and Glenn was very optimistic, extremely optimistic, and he knew that this was going to work. But he also said the goal was to do 100 units a month, sell 100 units, manufacture 100 units, and that was going to be it. 1,200 units for the year, and we thought, yeah, that's a doable feat. But Joe and I would also, off to the side, think, I'm not sure that this is going to work. I don't know how we can do this. I mean, we were counting numbers every month. There was a running joke. Hey, Joe, how many you got? I got 9 over here. I got 8 over here. I'd have a board.
I'm still waiting for those 9.
Yeah. We were counting every single unit to try to figure that out. But in the meantime, you're in the back learning how to build these things, learning the nuances of the building them as well as packaging and shipping them. And how was that in the early stages? Did you believe us? Did you think like, yeah, this thing has wheels. This is a really cool product. It's going to take off. Or did you just think, man, I got a job. I'm going to try to be the best at it and go from there?
I can say, I mean, I've tried to think about that, to look back and go, was I nervous about like, is this going to be anything? Do I need to start looking for other jobs or anything? And I don't think I ever did. And I think mainly it was because
Joe did.
Yeah, well, we had a different background. I came from the interior world where, I was making a decent living as a sales guy. So when I jumped ships with, Universal Screens, Glenn and Shawn, there was moments, where you would think you're like, was I better over there? Am I better here?
Right.
But looking at it now, you're like,
he wasn't selling; he was doing interviews.
Yeah, I was doing interviews. Yeah. No, it's well worth it. I mean, to where we're at now, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but I think honestly, in the back of my mind, because I'd gotten to know you better, and I've met Joe, and I mean, I can tell you guys are salesmen. Like and it wasn't just like I can sell you anything. It was more your personality. It was just really cool, down to earth guys running a business, and I was like, I believe in them, So yeah. I don't think I ever did, but
yeah.
With that being said, at the time you're trying to sell me on hundreds a month. What do you think the actual numbers were back then? I mean,
oh man,
scrambling to get numbers.
The first So it started off hot. The first order we ever manufactured was 10 units going to Alaska.
That's right.
In gray. So 10 units coming in the order, and we don't even have gray. So we've got to call Florida, and we've got to buy the aluminum.
Do you remember
from
the
them.
screen?
The type of screen?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess it was a bug screen. Oh, it was not. It was a blackout. You're right.
Because they wanted to keep the sun.
Yeah. So all of the curveballs that you could expect for the first order were there. A color we don't have, so we've got to buy from someone else. Blackout, which we really haven't trained on and don't know how, the tolerances and the differences that we've got to, the deductions we've got to take. And we've got to put it in packaging that we haven't really tested yet and get it to Alaska.
Shipping was my biggest worry. I'm like, how are we going to get all this stuff out there? It's like shipping to me was like the biggest thing.
Do you remember that picture, though, of the first 10 units, and they were perfectly stacked and boxed in that bay? And it was very exciting. It was like,
the first one.
Hey, this is real. This is going to happen.
There was nothing else in the warehouse. It was just those boxes.
Yeah. The pictures that you see of the warehouse and the original location, comparing them to where we're at now, it's surreal, to think of how things have progressed so quickly. And I will attribute that to you guys and to the both of you, but also to the many great employees that we have. Like, absolutely. I just think we have some really good people here, and without that, the company wouldn't be nearly as successful. We've got really, really good people here that care for the product. And we make mistakes. Sometimes we make a lot of mistakes.
And that leads me to the next thing, which is, when we were distributing, when we first started, we had met a lot of our dealer/friends, that really believed in us, and had faith in us, and I mean, those are the ones, like he says, we make mistakes, but they know we're good for it. I mean, we're always willing to accept criticism, correct things, and I mean, we want the same thing they want, which is a good product and everybody to make money.
Yeah.
I say we try the beer real quick.
Yeah, I've been sipping. I've noticed you guys have been.
It's good.
So
that is good.
It is a good flavor.
I like it.
I mean, it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
You can taste the stout.
Yeah.
But at the end, you get that peanut butter, that banana.
I know you prefer a light beer or no. You're not.
Our actual goal is to get him to like just one of these beers.
It looks like he's going to be drunk before the other. So, taking everything that you learn and you kind of, as far as you grew up with this company, and you fast tracked, and we were building and we started to sell units, and we were looking for people to fill different roles. And you had checked all of the boxes and filled all of the roles in the back. You could do all the production, manufacturing, and the shipping. And then we were looking for ways to increase in the front of the house, whether that be sales or whatever it may be. And I do remember walking by and hearing you on the phone with a customer. And I believe I may have grabbed Joe and just had us listen to you. And your demeanor with that person on the phone, immediately we said, yeah, he's got to be something more for us, And so you were fast tracked from the back of the house into dealing with customers as we grew. And I think it was a great decision. I think there are customers that love you, and the way that you deal with people. Had you ever been in a sales environment before, or is that just your personality? You're just walk into a bar and you can meet someone and talk to them. You have that knack about you.
Yeah, and my wife jokes a lot about it, that I know no stranger. I can get along with pretty much anybody, but I have had some sales before. I worked at a T-Mobile selling cell phones, so I've had that. I've had a couple other retail jobs, stuff like that, just selling. But to me, it's not more about me trying to sell you the product, because number one, now I know the product because I came from the back, and I can tell you, like, oh, well, this is the way it is because we build it like that. But also, me, the way I deal with anybody when I'm talking to them, customer service, sales, problems, is I talk to them like I want to be talked to. Like, I don't want you to BS me. I just want you to tell me the truth. Like, even if it's like, oh, well, we really screwed up and that's my fault, I'd rather hear that.
Just
than,
own it.
Than be like, oh, well, no, that's just, this or that. But to me, it's all about just being personable. And sometimes it comes to a fault. Maybe I say too much or something like that. But to me, it's just talk to somebody like they're your brother, like your family or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across. But to be honest with you, the way I deal with dealers is kind of a lot from me hearing you two speak with dealers, because you guys are, they're almost friends to you guys.
Yeah.
And I remember first starting, especially Shawn, like somebody would say a name in your or a company, and you'd be like, "Oh, so and so runs that." I'm like, "How do you know that? Like, you've been doing it for so long, but like, how did these guys just become friends? Did you know them in the business?"
Man, and it's a weird thing because, and if my wife were here right now, she'll tell you that I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything about, oh, do you remember when that happened with the kid? He did this or she did that, and I don't remember unless it was a big event. But I'll tell you who runs this company or who our competitor is or where they're at or, oh yeah, that guy left here and he's gone. I know all that. It's a weird thing.
I remember you getting on to me when I first got into sales. You had mentioned a company name, and I was like, I don't know. And you're like, that's a problem. You should know who your dealer is. And I'm like, you're right, But now that I've been through it a lot, I notice I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So you personally, you have a large blended family. How many kids do you have? We joke that you have a whole school
13.
bus, right?
Last I counted was 6.
You have 6 this morning. Okay.
Still be good.
So you have six children under the same roof. Obviously, all different personalities. Moods are all different, and you have to deal with that. How does that dealing with your household? It's got to be tons of fun, but also a lot of stress. How do you deal with those different personalities, and how does that kind of compare to what you deal with here? Because now you've fast tracked up, our ladder, and you're in charge of operations, which pretty much means you're running everybody in this building inside and out.
Except for sales, I leave that.
Yeah, you do dabble in that a little bit. I hear that you should step out, but you deal with everybody basically under the company umbrella, and they all have different personalities. What are the similarities to running your household and also dealing with our family here? Yeah,
and just remember 5 girls. So
yeah, okay,
So the moodiness is there. No, it is almost identical, and it's funny because me and my wife get into this because she kind of gets onto me like, well, you treat this one this way and you treat this one that way, and also I started back in the day. I started a soccer team where I had to deal with 20 soccer players, and I kind of learned from there. Actually, I think I started more there than anything, and then kind of pertained it to my kids and then to the business as I grew with it. But it really is, it's all the same thing. And what I've learned is that you do have to treat people differently. For example, Joe, and not saying that he is this way, but let's say Joe is more quiet and timid. Shawn, you're more outgoing, and you're loud. I know that I can come to you and I can yell at you, and you're not going to take it personal. You're going to be like, in fact, it's going to do the opposite. You're going to oh, well, I'm going to step up my game. Opposed to someone like Joe, which he's not timid, he's not shy, but timid and shy, I'd rather pull you to the side and say, hey, I see that you're not doing it. So I do the same thing with my kids. There are some that need me to yell at them because I think it pushes them a little bit more. And then there's other ones that I pull to the side and say, hey, I don't think you're helping out enough. But it's same way in the back. So I've got a lot of employees back there. I try not to deal with the production staff straightforward, but typically I will go through Andrew. But there are certain guys that I will go back there, and if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, I'll yell at them, and I can see it because I think that we've built this bond. I think they can kind of see it as almost like my kid, oh, I'm letting him down. Maybe I need to step it up. So,
and I think it's admirable that you can you can deal with people in different ways. You mentioned soccer, and I used to coach, and I coached as assistant at the collegiate level of a women's team, soccer team, and each one had their own personality. And you're right, there was ones that I could get onto and really push. There was other ones that I had to be very, very soft and coddle, like because they would cry.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah, exactly.
At a college level?
At the college level. Trust me, man. It was odd.
Well, and they just take it personal, and it's
Yeah.
like it's not personal.
But not everyone realizes that everyone has a different personality, you know, and you can't lump everyone in the same box and treat them all that same way. And it comes with our dealers too. Like we've gotten to know our big dealers. We know what gets them riled up. We know what pushes their buttons. We know that maybe this mistake by us doesn't necessarily affect this particular dealer, but the same mistake, not only does it affect this dealer, it seems like it ruins, it just breaks everything down, and we know how to deal with those things. I think we do a pretty good job of that, but it is something that we're constantly learning every day.
Do you find a challenge? Because I know your 3 kids, and I would say the 3 have very different personalities.
Yeah. I think I'm a very good parent. I think anyone that looks out at how we parent our kids would agree. But it is hard for me overall, whether it be at home or here at the business. I'm not a disciplinarian. It's hard for me to lay down the law and be like, look, you do this one more time, Joe, and that's it. And then come the next time, and I'm like, Joe, come on, one more time. But as we've grown this business, and you guys have been in some recent meetings where I've said, like, I have to draw the line. It's a no friend zone right now, and we have to do what's the best interest of the company, and also it's the best interest in the person. Because if I continue to let you go down this path, you're not going to help yourself. I point a lot at Michael to some of our other employees because of the route you took to get where you are. Which kind of leads me to my next question is, like, when you first accepted the position to work here, did you ever foresee that you would be a face of the company? Meaning that if this company has a meeting next month in Florida with someone, I would have no second question. I wouldn't question it to send you as the face of this company. Did you ever think that would be the case when you first started working here in the back?
No. In fact,
we didn't either. We didn't either.
In fact, I still don't believe it. No. I never thought I would be like the face or part of the management, or part of this trio, which it's beyond my wildest dreams. Most of my jobs that I've had, I have moved up in management. I was a manager at a majority of my jobs, but it was never like, it was always just a manager, and then that's it. But to be honest with you, because of that, I was just happy to say, like, my end goal when I started was I just want to be the manager, like production manager. Mm-hmm. I just want to have guys under me, and I'll just supersee it, oversee it. And that happened. And then you guys moved me up, and I was like, okay, it's a new challenge. I'll take that on. I love new challenges. And I like I said before, I've done sales before. I've done it, but I've never sold this, and I've never sold it to distributors or to dealers that sold it. And so it was brand new for me. And then coming in and trying to learn the office aspect of it.
Hey, we were all salesmen at one point. I mean, you took care of a small territory. I did too, and you did too.
Yeah.
Right. And just for the record,
you minimized it a lot right there.
You never
a small territory.
Well, it was very small, but for the record, you never beat me once.
I think one
yeah.
time.
Why are you not wearing your belt?
Right?
Are you putting your belt on for your episode?
But yeah, and then because I didn't know, I'd never known QuickBooks, invoicing, stuff like that. I've never been on the office side of anything. So learning that was a challenge, but I did overtake that. And then it just, after that, I think I just kept asking, like, what else can I do? So.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about you, and it's far better than Joe and I. Joe and I have our strengths in other areas, but what we can do with you is we can give you something, whether it be the PIC business system software, restructuring a end cap, figuring out how this motor works or program. We can give you stuff like that, and you can sit down and you can read it,
Figure it out.
and you can figure it out. Where Joe and I, our minds don't work like that. Like Joe and I, and I'm speaking on myself, and maybe Joe's a little better at this, but if I bring something home to build and it's got instructions, those instructions immediately get handed to my wife. Because either A, I'm going to build it without using them and I'm going to screw it up, or B, I used to do that. Now I just go, here, will you please read this and just let me know? And it's not that I can't read, it's just that I'm very impatient about that kind of thing. And you'll go through, and it'll come out the way it's supposed to, and I see some of the handy stuff you do at your house, the woodworking. You're working on a project for me right now. You're building a motorcycle or rebuilding a motorcycle. I mean, all of that stuff speaks volumes about who you are as a person, that you're able to dabble in so many different things and have success. And yeah, I mean, when we hired you on, I think with any time we hired a guy in the back at that time was just like, look, he seems like a hard worker, and he'll do for now. But you kind of changed our mindset is that, when we're hiring now, I'm more or less looking for who's the next Michael. Who are we going to get in here that's going to show some go-getiveness? Am I making up words? Who's going to show some determination to learn our product and to better themselves? And I think we've got a few guys out there right now.
Oh yeah.
That see that, that see that path, that we are willing to take you along this ride. It makes me proud to see where you are, for yourself, for your family. I know that, when we were at IFAI in Charlotte, and you probably don't even remember, and I'm not going to say the figures, but I made a commitment to you guys to get you to a point. And I don't know if we hit it. We got there. But even when I said that, I honestly, I didn't believe it. I just was trying to pump you guys up. I didn't know where
doing this from the start. You basically said, we're going to get you to this number.
I've been trying to pump you guys up from the get-go because I'm not quite Glenn. I'm not supremely optimistic about anything. I'm constantly thinking, okay, what's going to happen next? This could happen. This could weigh in the balance. So, I think the future is bright for the company. And I think it's that way because of you guys. I think I definitely add plenty to the business, but I feel like my stress is lightened because of guys like you.
Yeah, but you do add a lot. I mean, you don't, you're downplaying yourself, but there are a lot of times that, maybe me and Joe don't see eye to eye, and then we just come to you and you're like, nope, this is it.
I've always had a role as a salesman, but never with the, how can I say it, with the openness that, or the confidence that you have in us, to make decisions, to deal with some of the biggest dealers out there, that if you're not doing your job right, you could lose to a competitor. And, I thank you for giving us the ability to work what we know what to do. Yeah, openly, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
it seems like it's working because we're doing good.
I remember when I first got into sales, I remember going to him about everything, like, hey, I need to, is it okay if I do it? And you're like, just do it. And finally, it just got to the point where it's like, I'm going to make this decision. If it's the wrong one, I'll own up to it. But, it hasn't proved me wrong so far. But
well, then, we got to kind of wrap this episode up, and maybe that's the key of this whole episode is that, for those that are listening, and there's plenty of small business owners that we're putting this out there, and we hope that they listen, is that, you got to empower your people and give them a little bit of a leash to succeed and fail. Both of you guys have failed at things.
Yep.
But you guys have you guys have succeeded. You guys have exceeded expectations on many occasions. And if those that are listening, you never know what you have out there until you let them try it. Some things are just completely out of question. but allowing your employees to have some freedoms and make some decisions. And maybe you're just still monitoring, and at the end of the day, you have the last say. But yeah, definitely empowering them to do those things across the board can only reap positives, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think a big difference in most of the jobs where I said I was a manager before is that you're a manager, but you're still being micromanaged. You're still having someone look over your shoulder, or you're still having to report every day. And that's not really what we do here. We know our job roles, and there's been times where you come and say, "Hey, I need you to do this," but you don't come back the next day and be like, "Did you get it done?" You know it's going to get done with us. So, but no, I think that's really a good step in is just not micromanaging and being confident in your salespeople or your people underneath you, and telling them this is what you're going to do, and then just be confident that they're going to do it.
I can tell you, it's we're at a fun time. I mean, I have fun every day. I wake up and I love coming to work. My wife kind of looks at me like, "You really happy to go to work?" And I actually am. I mean, I enjoy what I do. Yeah. It's not difficult at all.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's it for episode 1. Like I said, we've been waiting many years to launch this, and more episodes to come. Hopefully, we can dive a little deeper into, again, some of the employees at at Universal Screens, as well as vendors and customers that we have. But the beer, 903 Brewer, the peanut butter sandwich stout.
I approve it.
Not bad. Yeah, we give it a thumbs up.
Joe,
so,
honestly.
Good flavor. No, it tastes good.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Screens. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast player and leave us a review.